Zombie. Zombies are the most common enemies in the original Resident Evil and the foundation of the entire series. They were once ordinary people living or working inside the Spencer Mansion and nearby laboratory, but exposure to the T-virus caused their bodies to decay while leaving behind aggressive survival instincts. Unlike fast modern zombies seen in later movies and games, these creatures move slowly and awkwardly, which creates a constant feeling of tension instead of chaos. Their appearance was heavily inspired by classic horror films from the 1970s and 1980s, especially the work of filmmaker George A. Romero. Cerberus. Cerberus are infected. Doberman dogs created after the T-virus spread through the mansion grounds. They were originally trained guard dogs belonging to Umbrella Corporation, but the virus transformed them into violent creatures with exposed flesh and unnatural aggression. Their speed makes them far more dangerous than standard zombies, especially during the early sections of the game when the player has few resources. One of the most memorable moments in the original game happens when Cerberus dogs suddenly crash through mansion windows, creating a shock that became one of the defining scares in survival horror history. Their design reflects the series' focus on taking familiar animals and twisting them into something disturbing. Crow. The infected crows are another example of ordinary wildlife mutated by the T-virus. They usually appear in groups and attack by flying directly at the player, pecking and creating confusion in tight spaces. While individually weak, their unpredictable movement makes them difficult to target. The developers used these creatures to keep players uncomfortable even in areas that appeared safe. Birds are normally harmless background animals in many games, but here they become part of the mansion's growing sense of infection and decay. Web spinner. Web spinners are giant spiders created through viral mutation. These creatures roam dark rooms and hidden passages, using poison attacks to slowly weaken the player over time. Their enormous size plays into common human fears surrounding spiders, making them especially memorable for players with arachnophobia. The game rarely explains them in detail, which actually increases their impacity because they feel like unnatural accidents born from uncontrolled experimentation. Their slow movement also creates a different kind of tension compared to faster enemies like hunters or Cerberus dogs. Black tiger. Black tiger is an enormous mutated spider that acts as a boss creature within the mansion tunnels. Unlike normal web spinners, Black tiger is much larger and more aggressive, filling most of the room during its encounter. The creature represents the idea that prolonged exposure to the virus can continue mutating living organisms far beyond their original form. Its appearance is grotesque even by Resident Evil standards, with massive legs and a swollen body that barely resembles a natural spider anymore. The fight itself is less about speed and more about surviving in a confined environment while avoiding poison. Neptune. Neptune is a giant infected shark created inside Umbrella's underground aquatic testing area. The shark was once part of regular biological research before viral experiments caused it to grow larger and far more aggressive. Water sections in horror games are often unsettling because movement becomes limited, and Neptune uses that fear effectively. The creature's name comes from the Roman god of the sea, fitting its role as the ruler of the flooded laboratory area. Although its screen time is relatively short, Neptune helped establish that the T-virus could affect almost any living organism. Yawn. Yawn is a gigantic mutated snake hidden within the mansion. It serves as one of the earliest major boss encounters and immediately shows players how dangerous Umbrella's experiments have become. The snake attacks with sudden lunges and poisonous bites, forcing players to react carefully inside cramped rooms. Its name comes from the strange habit of opening its mouth wide before attacking, almost like a giant yawn. Snakes have long been symbols of fear and danger in mythology and horror fiction, so Yawn fits naturally into the game's atmosphere, while still feeling unique because of its massive size. Plant 42. Plant 42 is a giant mutated plant growing deep inside the mansion residence area. Unlike most enemies in the game, it does not rely on speed or physical pursuit. Instead, it traps victims with vines and uses toxic chemicals to slowly kill them. The creature was created after the T-virus infected plant life and combined with experimental chemicals used by Umbrella researchers. Its existence shows that the virus affects more than animals and humans, turning even vegetation into hostile life forms. The battle against Plant 42 also changes pacing by focusing more on strategy and environmental interaction rather than direct combat. Hunter Alpha. Hunter Alpha creatures were genetically engineered bioweapons designed specifically for combat. Unlike zombies, hunters were intentionally created by Umbrella as military assets rather than accidental mutations. They combine reptilian features with human DNA, resulting in fast, intelligent predators capable of killing with a single slash. Their introduction marks a major shift in difficulty because they are faster, deadlier, and far more aggressive than earlier enemies. Hunters became one of the most iconic creatures in Resident Evil history because they perfectly represent Umbrella's transition from failed experiments to deliberate weapon creation. Chimera. Chimeras are horrifying mutants created by combining human and insect DNA during experimental research. They move across walls and ceilings with unnatural speed, making them unpredictable and difficult to track. Their appearance is intentionally disturbing, with twisted limbs and insect-like movements that barely resemble a human body anymore. The name Chimera comes from Greek mythology, where it described creatures made from multiple animals fused together. In Resident Evil, the Chimera represents the complete destruction of human identity through reckless scientific experimentation. Lisa Trevor. Lisa Trevor is one of the most tragic monsters in the Resident Evil series, although she was added later in the remake version of the game rather than the 1996 original. She was the daughter of the mansion's architect and became one of Umbrella's earliest human test subjects. Years of experimentation transformed her into an almost immortal creature, driven by pain and confusion. Unlike many monsters in the series, Lisa still shows fragments of human emotion, which makes her story unusually sad compared to standard bioweapons. Her character added deeper emotional horror to the remake by showing the human cost behind Umbrella's research. Tyrant T-002. Tyrant T-002 is the final major bioweapon encountered in the Mansion laboratory. Unlike zombies or accidental mutations, the Tyrant was intentionally engineered to become the ultimate living weapon. It possesses immense strength, intelligence, and durability far beyond normal humans. Its exposed heart and clawed arm give it a terrifying appearance that reflects both scientific ambition and complete loss of humanity. The Tyrant became the foundation for many later enemies in the Resident Evil franchise, including Nemesis and Mr. X. Its reveal near the end of the game changes the story from simple survival horror into a glimpse of Umbrella's larger plans for biological warfare.